Welcome back, everyone, from lunch. I hope people enjoyed the various activities. Did anyone here do the speechless thing? One? Just two? Three? I want to go check that out tomorrow. But we have some great talks for you guys this afternoon. And to kick things off, I'm super excited to have two of our very own Atlassians, Ben Wirtz, PM for JIRA Core, and his counterpart, Sherry Atienza, PMM for JIRA Core. Ben is actually coming from our Sydney office, and Sherry works here in San Francisco. And despite being distributed, this dynamic duo recently did the JIRA Core launch and are here to answer any and all questions about it. So please, let's welcome Ben and Sherry to the stage.
Hello. So when you guys first entered, we asked you a question. Which of your business teams are using JIRA or JIRA Core? And it looks like an overwhelming amount of you guys are using it for marketing, finance, and other. What is that other? Whoever answered other, someone just shout it out? IT. IT. What? Facilities. Facilities. Chemistry QA. Chemistry QA. Finance expenses. Laboratory management. Wow, who'd have known, right? All these other use cases for JIRA, other than software and other than IT. So you guys are all here for the right reasons. You guys are here for everything you want to know about JIRA Core. My name is Sherry Atienza. To my left is Ben Wirtz. We're both on the JIRA Core team. Now, first of all, Ben and I have this running bet. Who likes licorice or who likes chocolate a bit more? So I want you guys to raise your hand if you like licorice.
Yes.
All right. Now, hold on. Who likes chocolate?
Oh,
all right. Looks like I have more fans than Ben. Thank you. All right. So in all seriousness, today we're going to go over why Atlassian decided to go over business teams. We'll go in depth into JIRA Core. We'll talk about some customizations that you guys can do for your business teams. You guys will get a glimpse into what's next into JIRA Core, and we'll end with a Q&A. So why business teams? Atlassian has always been successful at enabling software teams to do their best work. We say that software is eating the world, but we know that software teams is actually teaching the world. They are the ones who are spearheading new ways to manage work, particularly in large, complex products. And we actually built the #1 agile tool for software teams to enable them to do so. JIRA Software. A few years ago, we launched JIRA Service Desk, and it too has found success in IT teams and service teams to help support an organization. Atlassian believes that we can unleash the potential in every team, including business teams, to deliver high quality at high velocity. And that's why we built JIRA Core. But first, we need to understand what is happening within these business teams. What tools are they using to manage their work? Well, we found that information is scattered everywhere. Through email, through spreadsheets, Post-it notes, information is just stuck in their head. We also found that collaboration is difficult, whether it be across geos, across teams, or within teams. We noticed that people are often siloed and don't have visibility in what other people are doing, so work becomes redundant or it's forgotten. And there hasn't been that one solution out there because every team works differently. So there hasn't been one solution other than maybe JIRA Core, and we'll see. So we surveyed you guys in 2014 and asked which one of you guys were using JIRA for non-software projects. So who here was actually paying attention in the keynote? Does anyone know the answer to this question? 30%? OK, everyone actually was. So approximately a third of you guys said that you guys use JIRA for non-software projects. So to guys keep you guys awake, I want you guys to stand up if you use JIRA for business teams. So other than IT and other than software. So is that more than a third?
It's about a third.
It's about a third, right? So that means this number is going to grow because that's why you're here at this talk, to learn a little bit more about JIRA Core. But how did this happen? How does this all work? Well, it all starts with the software team, and it all spreads throughout the organization. And we see all these many use cases. We see HR using it for candidate tracking through an interview process, or onboarding new employees. We see marketing teams using it to launch campaigns and to do reviews of their content and graphical assets. We see finance teams using this for purchase approvals and for closing monthly financial books. And legal teams to review documents, so the right lawyers are making sure that these documents are up to date, and they use it for audit trails, so they know who, what, when a change was made. And we see other teams using it, just how you guys have said today, to deploy new training programs, for medical trials, so an issue is in a patient, for manufacturing floors, and for ad ops, we have seen people do ad delivery, and any other types of operations teams. And so any team you think of can use JIRA Core. So now I present to you JIRA Core, any business team, any project, and now Ben will go over all the details of JIRA Core.
All right, so question for you guys again. Who here has already upgraded to a JIRA 7 instance or Service Desk 3.0? How many? OK, quite a few. Cool. So for the rest of you, the most important thing that you need to know is once you upgrade to JIRA 7 or Service Desk 3, you already have JIRA Core. Common question amongst customers is, do I need to buy something extra? Do I need to set up another instance for JIRA Core? You do not need to. So here you have a screenshot of what the Create Project screen looks like in a JIRA 7 instance that also has Service Desk. And you can see that we have 3 categories or 3 types of projects: software, Service Desk, and business projects. And across these business projects, we have created 3 templates that correspond to the different ways we found teams work. So let's go through them one by one. The first one is task management, which is a very, very simple template. It's easy to get started. It has a very simple workflow just to do and done for all the teams that just need to keep track of a few tasks and see what's already done, what still needs to be done. And it has a few fields that are just focused on the key things that business teams typically need to keep track of. Now, the next template is project management for all the teams that work in project mode. So, for example, our Summit team, right? You walk from A to B, and then something is delivered, and you're done. This template is just slightly more sophisticated, so it's got an extra step in the workflow. So managers, for example, can see what's actually in progress versus what we still need to get started with. And it has a few extra fields. So, for example, time tracking is enabled here. The last template we've done is process management. So a lot of business teams actually work more on recurring things. Let's say the recruiting team, who are constantly hiring, right? Or the financial team who closes the monthly financial books. They do that on a monthly basis. So what we've done here is provided you with a simple approval flow, which has feedback loops, and managers can approve and reject things. And other than that, it still focuses on the key fields that business teams, or that are relevant for business teams. Also, just note that we haven't actually removed any of the power or flexibility of JIRA that you guys might know from your current version of JIRA. All the customizability is still very much part of JIRA Core. But let's look at the interface a little bit. What we really wanted to do here is make it easier for business teams to find their way around and to get started with JIRA. So when you start off with a fresh project, you have an inline issue creation dialog. So you can just get started jotting down the tasks with just one line. You don't need to go through the complex or the potentially complex create issue dialog. So that makes it easier to get started. Now, the next thing we've done is simplify the navigation. What we wanted to do is create an experience where business teams don't have to know all the different screens of JIRA and have to find their way around, but really have one place or one point of focus that gets them through the whole experience. So this sidebar is the thing. You can see on the left-hand side, we've called that the summary page, where you find the activity stream and the statistics page in one place. you have the issue navigator, and you've got the reports. And this sidebar will always be there, and business teams can always find their way back. We also added project shortcuts, so JIRA can really become the hub of where a business team gets started doing work, plans their work, and then goes to other tools. So here you can keep a link for maybe a Confluence space that the team is using, or for in the case of the marketing team, the actual blog, or maybe Google Analytics, anything that the team really needs. And the last thing we've done is have preset filters that correspond for each template. So each template comes with a list of default filters, which you see at the top, and the custom filters, which you see at the bottom. So for task management, you get by default a filter that shows the items with the highest priority that are still open. In project management, you see a filter for all the items that are due this week. And in process management, you see a filter for all the items that are ready for the review. So a manager goes into his project, and within 2 clicks, he can see all the items that are really relevant for him. And these filters are customizable, so you can adapt them to the needs of the team. All right, now you've seen how the different JIRA Core features work in theory. What Sherry and I want to do is actually walk you through a scenario where we show you how the conversation could now go in practice with JIRA Core. For that, we will try to pull out our Oscar-worthy acting skills. So Sherry will pretend to be a marketing manager with a bit of a problem, and I will try hard and pretend I'm a knowledgeable JIRA admin. I probably won't get a job for that, but let's see how that goes. And Sherry, you told me recently about a project that didn't go so well. What was that again?
Oh, the project was delayed, the website wasn't built, the blogs need rewrites, no one knows what's going on. It was a mess.
That sounds terrible. Sherry, what are you using to manage this project?
Well, we're using spreadsheets to check off everything that we're done, and we email each other the statuses of the reports.
I'm sure that's a very organized spreadsheet, but why aren't you using JIRA Core?
Because JIRA's for engineers. Yeah.
Well, not anymore. Why don't we get together sometime and just document the workflow of your team?
What's the workflow?
Right. Well, you know how you told me about, everyone needs to do things and you need to keep track of everything. So JIRA actually comes with a template for you that has a workflow where you can even approve items and make sure everything gets done. How does that sound? It might not be exactly what you're actually looking for, but I can customize it for you so it looks a bit more sophisticated like that.
Yeah, so you're saying that JIRA Core could track all the steps of my process?
Exactly.
All right, so and then what else does JIRA Core have to offer?
Well, you're using emails and spreadsheets and everything, and you can actually have all of this, all the communication about your tasks and all the tasks in this one place, which is called JIRA Core, where your team just accesses one place and they find everything in this project, and you stay up to date on everything.
So what do my day-to-day interactions with JIRA Core actually look like?
All right, well, check out this screen. This is what you basically look at most of your day. On the left-hand side, you can see all the items that your team has to work on. You see all the relevant fields of the data that you need to keep track of, and all the activities, so you're always up to date on what your team does.
So what if I want to add more fields? Like for a blog, I want to add the URL, or the metrics, or the goals. Can you guys add that?
If I have time. No. So yes, JIRA Core is actually just as flexible as all the other JIRA products, if you heard of them before. So we have a bunch of custom fields. Just the other day, I added to our recruiting funnel a field to check whether candidates like licorice or not. So I'm sure we can find something for you.
I'm pretty sure that you guys are losing in that licorice thing. So.
I'm not so sure.
No, team chocolate all the way.
Right.
So is there a way to check if those fields are empty? Because not everyone fills these things out.
Yes, that's actually very easy for us to do. So what I can do is create one of those filters for you that just checks whether the field is empty or not. And within 2 clicks, you can see all the items, and you can chase up your team to actually get their work done.
So is there a way to check the status of a project? Because right now, this email thing isn't working.
Yeah, sure. I think what we'll do for you is the statistics page, which shows all the items that haven't been done yet in your project by priority and by assignee and by status. So you can always make sure you're on track.
So we want to add some customizations where we want to track the customers that we use for case studies, so we know when we've written a blog about them or when we have a web page about them. Do you guys have any add-ons or integrations?
I love the way you think, Sherry. Yes, in the marketplace, we actually have integrations with existing CRM tools. I don't know if we're actually using one, but there is now also an add-on Relations for JIRA, which brings a CRM right into JIRA, so you can track your customers there. And if you want to do more advanced things, there's also an add-on to put all your issues on a map. Or I think one of the members of your team is a fan of Google Inbox. So we can even make JIRA look and feel like Google Inbox. So if you think something isn't possible with JIRA Core, there's an add-on for that.
Awesome. That sounds really great. So when can we actually get this implemented?
Well, let me finish lunch and then we can get started.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So let's take a step back and let's look at this and what we've actually done with JIRA Core and summarize it. So the first thing we have is 3 templates, right, which are all purpose-built for business teams, which help you to get started easier. And the next thing we have is still customizable workflows. So all the power of JIRA is still there. Now, we also made the navigation easier by having this new sidebar and basically enabling teams to stay in one screen, or what looks and feels like one screen all the time. You also have preset and custom filters which are accessible from that screen. So they don't need to leave it, and you can customize it for whichever way the team really wants to work. And also all the templates focus on the key fields that are relevant for business teams, so no fixed version. And you can obviously add all the custom fields that the team might want. You also still have dashboards and reports, all that, everything that was there in JIRA before. And we have a vast number of add-ons. And it's actually really incredible and humbling to see what our ecosystem is creating these days that's really purpose-built for business teams.
So JIRA Core provides you the fundamentals for you to implement JIRA Core to all your business teams, whether it be HR, marketing, finance, legal, operations, or any of the other teams that you guys mentioned earlier. So we're going to go through a few customizations that you guys can go through for your teams. So we went through a marketing blog example in our routine, and there are other types of things you could do to customize it. So we could actually create new types of issues, such as in this example, there's blog announcements, blogs, by customer story, tips and tricks, or by webinars. So we could further segment and analyze the content that the marketing team creates. For HR onboarding, each new employee is onboarded pretty much the same way. They need a laptop, desk, chair, business cards, etc. So rather than creating these tasks over and over and over again, what you can do is create a master task and clone that for each new employee. So a task is an employee. Next is a purchase approval workflow, where we've taken the process management workflow, but just altered it just a little bit. So we add another approver to make sure that the manager and in finance actually approve it. And since finance loves numbers, we could ask a custom field to make sure that they know how much a particular item that they're approving costs. For legal documentation, we always want to make sure that those lawyers are happy and they know what's going on. This is the actual workflow that Atlassian goes through in order to achieve that. And like I said, for audit trails, you could also create your own filter to ensure you know when the last time a document was updated. In this particular example, I just want to know what Ben still hasn't done, so I wanted to check his open tasks. And so now we'll leave you a few takeaways for JIRA Core. Is that JIRA Core is a JIRA you know and love. It's built for business teams, and it's built to scale, so you can implement JIRA Core for any business team across your organization.
Now, when you implement and get started with business teams and them using JIRA, there are a few best practices which we found, which we just wanted to share. This is just high level, but we're going to give you or point you to a talk later on that gives you a little bit more detail. The first thing is just making sure that the business team can work in a way that is comfortable with them. That often means customizing the workflows and adding custom fields for them, and really making sure that the project has everything they need. Often looking at the spreadsheet is a good way to get started. The next thing is translating the language between JIRA and the business teams. We know JIRA has a few quirky terms, and maybe it's not the best approach to tell business teams right away about the issue type screen scheme. but just helping them to understand what JIRA expects and how JIRA works, and making sure that the JIRA terms are translated to the business language helps a lot. And lastly, of course, training the team. So we made JIRA a lot easier to get started, but there's a lot of power in JIRA, and we believe that it really helps when over time the business teams understand what they can do with JIRA and how they can get the most out of it and work in the best way for them. Now, a word on licensing here. So when we were at the booth, quite a few customers asked us already, what about licensing? With JIRA Core, do I need an extra license? And as we discussed at the beginning, once you upgrade to JIRA 7 or Service Desk 3, JIRA Core is part of every instance. You don't need to install anything separately. And also, all users have access to all features of JIRA Core and business projects, no matter which license they're on. So they can be on an existing JIRA software license or on a Service Desk license. Now, of course, you might have business teams who only need access to JIRA Core, or only business projects. And for those users, you can add a JIRA Core license into your existing instance. Now, we have just released JIRA Core, and we're really here just to get the journey started. And we want to take you guys with us on that journey. So we've done a few things to make JIRA easier and clearer and everything. But where we think it's going over the next year is making it more visual so that business teams can understand where their workflow is, what their workflow even looks like, and where their project is. We also make it clearer and make sure that JIRA talks to business teams in terms that are more familiar to them. And we want to make it even easier to get around it and to do the things that business teams commonly want to do. Now, some of you have already asked us after the launch, what about boards? Why are boards not part of JIRA Core? And we're happy to say that they will be part of JIRA Core, and what we want to show you is a glimpse of what we think this could look like. So this is the current thinking. Lots of people taking pictures, awesome. This is going to stay there for a bit, so no rush. Right. So what you can see here is a very simple board that's purposely built for business teams. You have different columns with statuses, there are cards you can drag and drop around, and importantly, you've got the filters at the top, which means that every member of the team can create a view of that board that shows all the items that really matter to them, to that individual team member. And the other thing we're thinking about is enabling project admins to do the simple admin tasks themselves. So if they know they need another step in the workflow, enabling them to do that right from this board so that, as discussed in the beginning, they can stay in one view over time and don't need to navigate through the depth of JIRA.
So, if you guys want to learn more about how to implement JIRA Core to your business teams, Jordan Packer from Janus Capital Group will be speaking tomorrow in this very room at 1 o'clock. So his talk is called Be the Enabler, JIRA Workflows for Business Teams. He's actually here right now, so you can feel free to ask him questions too. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Jordan. But no, if you guys want to, if you guys have any other questions about JIRA Core, we will be at the Product Hub. Ben will also be at the Demo Den. And also Brian Rollins, who is our GM, will be speaking at the business keynote tomorrow, so please do not forget to attend that. And so now we will leave it through some Q&A.
Cool.
Question right there.
Oh.
Versions of JIRA, I think you said it comes with version 7. What about version 6? Any of the version 6s?
All right. The question is if JIRA Core comes for any of the previous versions of JIRA. The answer on that is no. You cannot get JIRA Core into a JIRA 6X instance because it comes with the whole JIRA 7 release, and that's when we introduced project types, which are essential here. But of course, you could sign up and create an instance on the site that is JIRA Core 7 and use your existing JIRA 6X instance. Yep.
Are the new project workflows, are they administered differently than other traditional JIRA projects and teams?
If the workflows are administrated in a different way than other JIRA projects, no, it's exactly the same. The whole global admin experience didn't change in JIRA 7.0. It's just that we have different types of projects, but the workflows are exactly the same. They have the same power. Let's go over there. The question is if we put any thought into establishing different types of roles and responsibility.
Because one of the premises around workflows and pre-configured filters and so forth is you have to show the right things to the right people.
Right. So the permission scheme and the project roles are, there's a default setup for all our projects, which is the same. To go any deeper in that, I believe we'd have to have per project roles and yeah, very, very deep permission schemes. We did think about it, but we didn't find enough patterns to really create that. So every business team seems to work and even every organization seems to work in a slightly different way. So we wanted to leave it up to you guys to see how you want to configure that. However, what you can do now in JIRA 7 is you can create projects based on other projects and just reuse the schemes of an existing project. So permission schemes, etc. You can just copy that. Many. I think actually at the back there was one that's been up for a while. The gentleman with a beard.
We have many existing projects that we use to create for our business users using the base projects from JIRA 6. When we upgrade to JIRA 7, can we change the project type, or are we going to have to redo all the projects and import the tasks?
Excellent question. So the question is if you have a lot of existing projects, if you have to change the project type, or if you can change the project type, or if you have to import them in a certain way. So when you do the migration from JIRA 6 to JIRA 7, all the existing projects get assigned a project type. And by default, that is the software project type, because the vast majority of projects are still software projects. But you can then change the type and make them a business project. And you can do that either one by one or also in bulk. So yeah, completely up to you. Yes?
Okay, so currently now we have an JIRA Agile license as
Yep.
well as JIRA Core, right, for the most part. We're not just 7.0 yet, but when we go to 7.0, what happens to that? I think I heard you say that JIRA Agile, which is the boards, will be part of JIRA Core. What happens to our existing license? Because we're paid out for like 2 years.
Sure. It's slightly different. So what happens in JIRA 7 is that with JIRA and JIRA Agile, you get migrated to JIRA Software. And JIRA Software is the package that includes the Agile boards, right? So Agile is part of JIRA Software. What we are going to do sometime next year is introduce new task boards, which are slightly simpler, into JIRA Core. But if you're already using Agile, then JIRA Software is the package to go with. I'm happy to answer more of these migration questions at the product hub. There are quite a few of us.
I'm not sure you even answered my question.
No, so JIRA Core is included in JIRA Software. I think, is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking of our existing licensing, we have 2 licenses, right?
Yep.
One for JIRA and one for JIRA Agile. What
Yes.
happens to our existing JIRA Agile license when we upgrade to 7? Do we get money back?
No, the pricing should be, the pricing is compatible with JIRA Software. So JIRA Software is the one that includes JIRA Agile. So when you migrate, your JIRA Agile license will entitle you to JIRA Software. Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. So there?
Can you save project templates?
Is in creating your own project templates.
Like JIRA Core represents like a business template, if you will, of JIRA.
Yes.
So after you customize and you add your own workflow and various things, can you then save that so a project manager can select from a customized version? Like we currently use a plugin to do that.
Okay. So the question is if you can save your own templates once you've customized a certain project. And you can create templates as such that you add to the create project screen. But what you can do is you can, maybe we can show the screen again. You can select an existing project and basically duplicate that. Someone else is controlling that. Thank you. It's right at the beginning. So you can create a new project based on existing configuration. So you can use an existing project as the template. So you've got that create with shared configuration button right at the bottom. So that's exactly what you want. Yes?
Are these slides going to be available?
They
Yes,
are.
they will be available via SlideShare, I believe. Is that correct? Yes.
Yep.
Are they available right after the summit, or do we have to wait 2 or 3 months?
by the end of today.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Actually, I'm interested within JIRA software or a JIRA software project. I want to assign tasks to business stakeholders.
Yep.
Now, so today I do that with stories that are assigned to pricing or legal review or whatever. But I like the simplicity of these issue types or this workflow. Is that possible to integrate that simplicity into JIRA 7 or how would that?
Absolutely. So you can still link issues with each other. So if you have a story inside a software project that requires a story inside a business project, you can link those together. And otherwise, you can also have users on a JIRA Core license still access and comment on issues inside a business project. They just won't be able to see boards. So I think there are some workarounds you can do.
So in my mind, those are not separate projects, but you're saying in order to get the simple workflow and the simple screenshots, that would need to be in a separate project.
Yeah, so what we've done in JIRA 7.0 is separate projects and provide more tailored experiences. So the software projects provide a more software-centric experience, and the business projects provide an easy experience for business teams. So you would have to have two separate projects probably for your teams.
Cool. That's it.
That's it?
That's
All
it.
right. We're going to be just outside.
But yeah, you guys can follow them out and they can continue answering questions. So thank you.
Thank you.